Two women in front of me. One of them, her total was $8. The other, $3. They both, of course, choose to pay by the use of the check. Now, the fact is, if it is a woman in front of you that's writing out the check, you'll not be waiting long. I have noticed that women are very fast with checks, because they write out so many checks. The keys they can never find in their purse. They don't know where that is. But the checkbook, they got that. They never fumble for the checkbook. They've got the checkbook comes out of a holster. Who do I make it out to?
All right, here we go. Look who we got here. This is Jerry Seinfeld. You heard the bit. I guess women can write checks pretty quick, at least in the day. Now they can use the debit card a lot quicker, I guess. But there's Jerry, and guess what we got? I went to Rock Bricks it's also in Fairport, New York, I believe. And here we go. Now, I told you I'm not a huge fan of comedy, but if there's a show I do like, it's this one. Now, you got George Costanza over here, I mean, we got a minifig of George Costanza, Elaine Bennis, Newman. I never noticed, actually. There's no Kramer one in here. Oh, wait a minute. There's Kramer. There he is right there. And then, awesome. And then look what they got. This is a hallway right here. You know how Kramer always slides in the door? Boom. You can have Kramer come in from the hallway. That is fantastic. I love it. And then there's the bedroom they go into. You got George. He's got a fishing pole with him. Look, I got a Lego fishing pole now. And then you get these lights. I saw these on the YouTube shows I watched about this. So I'm going to put these in the basketball court, actually. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have them in here. But you can see we got the Seinfeld apartment. I told the lady when I bought it, we got the tower going very nicely here. You got your two apartments, you got people in there, you got that apartment, and then you got the band. I thought I might have to evict the band so I can get Jerry and company in there. I feel bad, the drummer, he's a hip dude. I like him, so I don't know. I got to figure some things out here, but we got the Seinfeld apartment, and then of course we got Jerry. Look, they give you the separate little stand for before the show with Jerry. It is fantastic. The hallway for Kramer to slide in. Somewhere in here, there's a picture of the Kramer, too. A lot of stuff like that. I haven't even looked the whole thing over yet, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I believe there's, in here, there's the latex company that George and whatnot, they got something in there with that. So we got to look all this over. But we got the Seinfeld. For the record, I got this for $100. So I got this for $100, and I got The Office for $100. Speaking of The Office, here we go. So I had to move it over so we could get the elevator in the middle. So there's Mike's office. And then they got this, you remember I showed you the room where they train you? So it really looks just like it did before. The seating is right here. There's a girl sitting in there. And that's the room. There's the TV with the VCR, the white scratch pad, and the door. So that looks the same. Been able to keep that going. And then here we go. What do you think? That's I moved the office into this floor here. So I got this stuff on the end here. And then we got this desk here. He's sitting at that desk. She's at that desk. Like I said, I don't really watch the show, but I honestly can tell who she is, who he is. Like, my kids watched it enough that I saw it. And just by looking at these minifigs, I can tell exactly who they are. That's the girl, and that's the younger dude. Like, I can just tell by looking at him. And that girl, I remember her from the show. So it's very interesting. I kept the Dufflin Midler there, even though it's going to be the back offices. So there's the elevator coming up to this floor. And I know that looks small. Believe me, I know. I've thought a lot about it. But it's, minifig world, I mean, if you look inside of some of this stuff, they don't give them a whole lot of room either. So I thought that'd be okay. It's a tight little hallway. And then once you get to the end here, the door's at the end. And you can see it's your birthday, I think, probably on some episode. And, you know what else I found? If you remember I asked if Brian was the one who spilled the chili. So I think that's what this is. I think this is a barrel of chili. It was actually next to Brian when Brian actually is taking on the role of being the manager of the band, actually. So, where is he? Somebody's messaging me. I can't see. Brian is in there somewhere, I promise. Maybe that's him right there. But anyways, he took on managing the band, so he's not in here anymore. But I believe this is the chili he spilled. So I'm going to put this inside of the apartment the band's living in, since Brian's in there working with them. But you can see, like I said, the desk with the two, and then there's the other desk with the two people working at it here. Michael's office. That's the reception desk. So I angled it so that when you get off the elevator, you're right at the reception desk. So that made sense. And then here's all the stuff on the wall. So I got the printer in there. I actually think that's a dehumidifier, believe it or not. The copier. And then I had to merge these two walls because they were kind of shaped differently before. The Dufflin Midler was kind of outside, so I had to kind of turn some things around. But you can see I made that corner that goes into Michael's office. And then I still have room for another row of Legos to go up above this. So I left this area open and this corner open. So there'll eventually be something that rises up above it. But that's it. The office, you know, if anybody actually watches these videos, what do you think? You think I did a good job moving it over? Like I said, the only thing really, I mean, if you look at it from this side, I really don't think it's bad that that's where the door is to the office. But in conjunction to the whole thing and the narrow hallway, I don't know. But I think overall it worked out great. And then this room actually has two doors on it. And I got to fill in that gap, obviously. But that really came together. Kind of looks like it did before, you know. I almost like, if you remember what it looked like, the doors went across the front and then the two offices were there. And basically it looks the same with the elevator in the middle, but the door's over here. So, but there it is, you know. You got the office and you got Seinfeld. So I really got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. You know, I am a big fan of Seinfeld. I'm a big fan of Kramer and Jerry and George and Elaine. I love all Newman. I love all of them, you know. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I believe it or not, I've actually thought about just keeping it the way it is and putting it on my shelf the way it is. I actually like Seinfeld that much. But we'll see. We'll see what we're going to do. You know, it would certainly be cool if I could fit it in somewhere. But, you know, then my concern is it's just kind of shut into an apartment, you know. So we got to figure that out. But we got Seinfeld. We got him in the house. We got the whole thing. Super excited. Look at you know, going back to what I've told you in the past. Look at that oven I got. Refrigerator, couch, chair, you know, compared to buying just bins of Legos and going through them. I mean, look at all this stuff. It's already built and everything. I could have bought it brand new in the box. And I saw this and I'm like, it was $25 less. It was $125 in the box. And I'm like, why would I do that? It's already put together. Look at, again, one of the old phones. Look at that. If you were around in the 80s, boy, you remember those. Where's the big circular ring cord that goes on that? Yeah, no? So, and I never knew Jerry was a fisher, or I'm sorry, George was fishing, actually. I didn't know that. So, but there it is. Once again, God bless you. Thank you. And God bless America.